symptoms and describing some of the problems from the neurological disorders and the seizures and the head injuries that I received during the seizures. I've had seizures. I believe the first one, I don't know if you would call it a staring seizure, just a seizure. So we're not going to go with the ones in Westford, some of the weird stuff going on. Instead, we're just going to go with when I go unconscious and my body is shaking. Beforehand, I feel like I'm getting electrocuted through the back, like somebody's holding a taser. And then all of a sudden, I go unconscious, and I usually wake up a little banged up on the head or body, and I just don't know like what the hell just happened. And I lose a little bit of time, but there was the first one in New Mexico. I lost a lot of bit of time. That was unusual. Most seizures, it seems like I only lose like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or uh, almost no time, I guess. And when there's people present, the only reason why I know we call these seizures is a doctor woke me up and told me it's called a seizure. I've now had lots of witnesses to these events. During childhood, people, when I was age 9, people didn't give a fuck if I was having a seizure out in the field. Nobody cared. My father didn't care if somebody was raping me up the ass in that place. I listened to an 8-year-old little girl in the shower be thrown to the ground and be choked out. And as she screams, her screams turn into like a gargle because her own arms are choking her. And she has such skinny, small little arms. She's such a small little girl that to reach those arms to her neck, oh my God, the pressure on, and I know how much it hurt the shoulders because he did the same thing to me around my own neck when I was age like 9. So nobody cared what was going on in that place. Not the director, not the parents. There was another little boy about the same age as me that was telling the director and the parents, and literally that kid got the worst of it. Oh boy. Toby directed all of his, whatever you call this, his power rush onto this kid. Because first he complained to the director, then he complained to his parents. Then he really got it. Then he complained to his parents again, and he really got it. On the third complaint to his parents, Toby was no longer allowed to do holds with this kid. But it didn't matter at that point. By that point, every kid was picking on him. You know, he got the most of the staff members' direction, and he was punished constantly for stuff he didn't do. They had him doing laps in the field for nothing. I mean, it was just bad for that kid. So luckily, my parents didn't give a shit about me, and I did tell the director, and I did get punished for telling the director that Toby was hurting me. So I learned, don't tell the director about this. Of course, different stuff like this happened. Like one time, I told my parents that we weren't having classes at a school I was going to, and then I was stood up in front of class and punished. I learned something really important about my mother and father. They love getting me hurt and making things worse. They don't look at things from their child's point of view. What they do is they make a phone call, they eat a bunch of bullshit, they believe the car salesman, and then they double punish their kid. So I've learned very specifically that if I did tell my mother and father that Toby was hurting me while I was in the program, I probably would have died, or I probably would have got choked out 5 times as much, and all the other kids would have picked on me. Maybe I would have lost my little girlfriend that helped me stay sane in there. So yeah, why would have this happened? Because I would have told my parents. My parents would have told the director, who already knows about it. The director would go, oh, no, no, it's just some fantasy. Oh, don't worry about it. And then the parents just go, oh, okay. And then the director tells Toby, hey, I got another complaint that you're hurting the kids. You got to stop that. I'm not doing nothing, Toby says to the director. And then Toby goes over and says, hey, you little brat. Yeah, I got another complaint. Get over here. You're getting a holding. So that's how that works. It's not like you tell your parents and then your parents go, oh, you're getting choked out by a big black man. You already told the director and they're doing nothing. Oh, we got to get you out of this place. No, that's not what these rich parents who want to go on vacation do. This is not like parents that are really attached to their children. These are kids trying to crawl down a mountain during winter to get back to their mommy and daddy. These are kids getting food poisoning and eating rotten eggs. These are kids wandering around a field of rattlesnakes because literally this place isn't built yet. The pool isn't there, the buildings aren't there, nothing is there yet. The program is faking it until they make it. Once when they have enough money to build the place, then they will fully staff it and build it. But right now, they're just scamming parents. And of course they are. Any parent could take a walk in that field. Oh yeah, let's take a look at this basketball court. Okay. Well, there's no cement left. We got all different types of plants and oh my god, that's a wall. That's not even I mean there's nowhere to bounce the ball left. I mean this is completely gone. I mean they only could play horse. There's no other games you can play because there is no more cement. I mean this is a big mountain field, so obviously. And of course, the track field isn't really a track field. It's where the pool's going to go. Just a bunch of posts, marking a giant pool. And then we just wander around that and then we push to the furthest trees. And if we have just like free range time where we're allowed to run free and they watch us from the window, we can go wherever we want. So that is what mostly is going on in New Mexico. Any parent could have taken a walk around the grounds and clearly went, oh, I counted 20 rattlesnakes jumping in the holes. And this is where my kid will be playing? He'll be playing where the rattlesnakes are? Yeah, but don't worry, we'll keep an eye on them. And how about these red anthills up to my child's waist and up to my knees? What are we doing about those? Oh, we're going to let the kids stomp on them, and then when they get bit, they're going to learn their lesson after we hose them down with the hose. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay. And this basketball court, you can't really play basketball here, and my kid's only 9 years old. Are you going to teach him how to play? Well, no. The older kids are going to do that and push them off to the side to play with bugs. Oh, okay. So they're just going to play with poisonous bugs all in the fields? Yeah, but they're mostly going after crickets, and we're not going to pay attention. We'll just tell them to focus on the crickets. And they're always going to have supervision? No, no, no. Sometimes we got to be inside on the phone, or sometimes we got to be cooking. So we do free time, and we just look out the windows. And you guys always keep an eye on all the kids from the window, right? Well, you know how kids are. Oh, and there's no dangerous animals coming around our kids, right? Well, there's a black bear with some babies, and there's a cougar and some other animals. But don't worry, we got a revolver locked away with Toby. He'll just bring your kids out at midnight, and they'll go hunting for the damn thing and shoot it. Don't worry. Your kids will just go out with midnight with flashlights. We'll use your kids as bait, and we'll try to shoot the damn animal. So don't worry about that. Well, you're going to feed our kids good food, right? Oh yeah, we're gonna feed them the most rotten, chunky. I mean, wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Our fridge broke down, and we had to feed some of the kids some chunky milk and some rotten eggs. Yeah, one of our staff members didn't want to get in trouble, but you didn't hear me say that. No, we feed these kids the best. Oh, okay, good. And they're gonna sleep in their rooms at night. They're gonna be on a mattress. Well, we're gonna have them on the floor for most of the night. But we are going to let them sleep for 1 hour in the morning in their bed, but then we're going to wake them straight up to brush their teeth and get ready. So my son's going to have to sleep on the floor every night? Yeah, he's going to have to sleep for most of the night on the floor, on a hard floor, but we will give them a bed they're not allowed to sleep in. It's part of the program, part of the treatment. Oh, okay. So what do they do for entertainment to keep these kids entertained? Well, we have the kids fight over a TV 1 hour only on weekends. They're only on weekends? You would think that you would have more than that. Well, sometimes the staff will sneak something in on the second weekend and we'll do like a movie day on Sunday or something. Oh, but during the week, no movies? No. They're mostly not allowed to use their toys except for a certain hour, and then we go to a locked room to get their toys. Yeah, we lock their toys away in a special bin in the back room. They're only allowed to have a couple in their room, and they're not allowed to be in their room. So what do they do all day then? Well, they wander around in the field during winter in the cold for about 4 to 6 hours. We bring them in. They get an hour of toys. They eat for an hour. We, put them on the floor to play chess, and they can pick out any book they want. Well, how about if our kid can't read? Are you going to teach them how to read? Well, we'll pair them up with one of the teenagers, and our staff members will try to teach your kid. Well, you have a paid teacher, right? Well, we did, but she quit. So we are trying to pay some other people to kind of fill in the blanks. Oh, okay. What parent would do that? What parent would be stupid enough to take a walk around that building and go, this is a great thing for my son who just redid first grade, missing education. The doctors say there's something wrong with his coordination. We just moved here moved to Texas from a whole nother state. So this is a great decision. No, this is the thought that went through most of these rich parents' heads. Because all these kids here came from, like the girl I hung out with, her family had millions of dollars. You should have seen their car. And on top of this, they owned multiple. She said five, but I would guess in this economy three by now. But she always said five, five, five. But I would think three. But anyways, they own five Radio Shacks, and in two different states, I guess. So these are very rich parents that just have the thought, I'm too old to raise a kid, or I'm too rich, or I want to go on vacation for a year. I want to go to the Bahamas. I don't want a kid right now. I want to drink and party in Bermuda. So they say, well, how do we get rid of the kid? We live in Texas. Let's put him in a program. And then they say, well, we don't have programs for you. You're a rich parent who decided to have children. You have to raise your child. Just because you have $100,000, including your home in equity or whatever, or you have five businesses, doesn't mean you get to just drop off your child in the woods someplace. And then some program up the mountain says, no, 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 no. We have a cabin up in the woods someplace you can drop your kid in. Just give us 30 grand and we'll just take care of it. Don't worry. Just drop your kids off up here. Is it good? Don't worry about good. We just have a place. And you can go do whatever you want. We only require a 1 hour check-in. And as long as you call in, you can skip that. Yes, just 1 hour a month is all the time you got to spend with your kid. And as long as you call in advance, you can skip it. Really? So I can go 2 months without even having to see my damn brat? Nope, nope, nope. You don't gotta see your kid's face. You don't gotta hear them cry for their mommy. You don't gotta hear them crawling through the woods to get to you. You don't gotta hear them puking from food poisoning. You don't gotta hear them begging for you as they get choked out by a black guy. You don't gotta hear none of that. All you gotta do is go have fun, drink a couple martinis, go out to eat, plan your next vacation. Don't worry about your little brat. We got it from here. And then the parents go, oh, great, great, okay. So we can call next month and we can skip our next visit? Yep. So we can go on a 2 month vacation and all we got to do is pick up the phone. You don't even got to pick up the phone. Your kid calls and you don't want to pick it up. So there won't be any consequences. Call him back later. See where he's at. He's probably out in the woods. We'll don't worry. We'll leave the message that you called. Fucking nuts. These parents are so nuts thinking that these people are going to raise their child correctly in today's society in some rattlesnake haven that hasn't been built yet. It's very obvious. I mean, we're going to get a pool. We're going to get a pool. Oh, when are you getting this pool? Oh, we're going to get it 2 years after your son leaves. Well, what good does that do us? Why are we hearing about a pool? Why are we hearing about a school building? Why are we hearing about dorms that our son will never see? What good does that do us? Where's the good teacher? I want to meet this good teacher of yours. I want to see where my kid's going to get this great education I'm paying for. I want to be able to check in on my kid and know that he's not going to be crying or having problems. Oh, no, no, no. Only 1 hour a month. That's all. I'm sorry. It's part of the program. So stupid. And then they build the place too. After a lawsuit, after I watched a little girl, well, I had to hear a little girl get choked naked in the shower, after I was choked many times, after multiple kids got sick, after kids playing with black widows and use it as bait to go hunting, and big African American causing terror. And I mean, he was on night staff probably for a reason. He probably did this before. I have no idea though. All I know is he did it to me and when I was there. And when I first got there, he was night staff, and they said he used to be day staff, but he was banned. He wasn't allowed anymore. I don't know what that means. And then all of a sudden, about 4 months in, he is now day staff again, and all of a sudden everybody's getting choked out the wrong way. All the other staff are trying to control him, but of course they're women, so he's just like overruling them and saying that they should choke us too. It was terrible. And they built the damn place. A couple years after I left there, they built the pool. They started building the buildings. I mean, it was expensive. These rich parents, they'll pay anything to get rid of their kids. I'm not kidding. I mean, there are rich parents who would pay $100,000 to conceive a kid. There are people out there begging to have children. I'm probably going to be one of those people that have to be like that. I can't, it doesn't seem like I can produce sperm thanks to what my mother and father did to me, so I have no idea. I mean, I've never been able to produce much for sperm, so that's always been the case. And I looked it up. The medications my mother was fooling around with in my body very clearly warn about these type of issues. So it's very clear what was going on and what could be happening to me with the sperm issue. Now, the neurological disorder is very easy. You have an overdose, and you have it starting right after I wake up from the overdose. My breathing slows down. I lose my vision. I lose the ability to feel my hands and body. I can't talk right. My tongue and mouth feels numb. So I pass out. And then I wake up with something different and my whole body feeling different, sucking my skin. So we know that that was the cause of the neurological disorder right there. And we know that whatever happened that night was caused by a combination of medications my mother was feeding me. And we know she continued giving me those medications week after week, and I didn't have a reaction again like that, so she slipped something in because she didn't want to watch a long Batman Mr. Freeze movie with me, because this was planned out as movie night. This was all planned. We went to rent the movie. It got plumped in, but my mother gave me pills like literally an hour before the movie started, almost like she was trying to time this out to make me passed out asleep so she could just change the TV. I'll drug him, I'll give him some of my pills, he'll pass out asleep, and then I'll just change the TV. Nobody will ever know. But then I had an overdose, I got very sick, and so, oops, she fucked up. So yeah, most parents would know that something was seriously wrong there. But the problem is you got a lot of these wealthy people who they make mistakes, but they don't want to own their mistakes. They have children, like let's say they get somebody pregnant or they adopt or they just make a decision and then they regret it, so they end up punishing the child. They destroy the child's health, or they get the child killed, or they neglect the child until rattlesnakes are killing them, or just whatever the situation is. Or they're neglecting the education, so their child's a bumbling idiot, or they just give their child away to somebody and then somebody else hurts their child. There's all these situations, and it's a very easy thing to prevent. All you have to do is care about your child's welfare and health. That's it. Your number one concern should be your child's wealth and well-being. If you are more concerned about your next vacation or your next dollar than your child's health, then that's probably a problem, because attachment disorder can happen to parents too. There are a lot of parents out there that are not attached to their child. They feel no connection whatsoever, and they're willing to sacrifice their child just for 10 minutes of fun time. And I see it all the time with these young parents and older parents. It's young parents who are like 20 who want to go out with friends, and they drop off the child with grandma, and the grandma says no, so then they just drop them off literally someplace you can't and then go out with friends. You can't do that. You can't just like, here, yeah, I don't know who you are, but watch my child because I got to go. You can't do that type of stuff. But then I also see it with a lot of older parents who are like 60s or real much older. They'll be like, here's my child. I don't care what happens to him. You just watch him and I'll be over here on a cruise ship. So it seems to be either really young people or really old people don't know how to take responsibility for their own choices. Now, I am no angel over here. I went through teenage years. I was in my early 20s, I was a drug addict. I took responsibility for my drugs, though. When a police officer came up to me asking me what I had, I told him everything. And if he wanted to arrest me and put me in prison, well, I knew what I was doing. If I copped a bag of heroin, oh, shit. I even had a police officer catch me with dope, with actual opiates, in a syringe that was bought at Walgreens. So I went to Walgreens, bought a syringe. He followed me from Walgreens. And then I did the dope. It was actually a Perk 30 melted down and then sterilized and then put into the syringe. I went to try to shoot it up, and the cop came and opened up my tent. And he asked me what I'm doing. Now my syringe is no longer in sight. It's kind of hidden to my side in my hand. Obviously, he knows what I'm doing, but I could have tried to lie. I could have dropped the syringe. So I'm not doing nothing, officer, but trying to sleep in this tent. But no, no, I'm not going to try to lie. Officer, I'm a drug addict. I'm trying to go somewhere where nobody has to see me to do dope because I'm sick. If you need to arrest me, I understand. What is going to happen here, officer? Do what you got to do, but I just would like to know what's the next step here. The officer said, you're going to squirt that shit onto the ground, whatever the fuck it is, and you're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to turn back, I'm going to walk away, and you're going to get rid of that shit and get the fuck out of here. And I did. To be honest, I think I did end up squirting it on the ground and then leaving a couple drops at the bottom. Not on purpose, it actually clogged a little bit, but you can pull back and push back down, and sometimes that will unclog it. It's because it cools down, so the molecules start turning solid, because a lot of that stuff isn't water soluble 100% and starts dropping out at room temperature. So anyways, so at that point, I'm just like, screw it. And this was a short stint too. This was probably the time where I just quit. I was like, nope, rehab time. This isn't me. I'm the guy who takes a Percocet and gets addicted to taking pills that I'm getting prescribed to a doctor or stuff like that. Opiates might be helping me, but they're too illegal for my liking. So I stayed out of it mostly, kind of stuck to trying to stay in the legal market. But I had relapses, don't get me wrong. Opiates are widely available, way more available than benzos. Benzos work better for my seizures and neurological disorder. I can work a full shift, I can drive a car, I can walk through snowstorms with Ativan. But I also can do it with a half a beer and 15 to 30 milligrams of Percocet. But the Percocet doesn't work good. It numbs you, but it doesn't help the actual problem. It doesn't seem to work on the nervous system. It just kind of like numbs the activity, but it also has side effects like drowsiness, and too much of it can make you have a seizure in general and can make it worse. And when you get sick, the neurological disorder is worse. So it doesn't really help. It's a stopgap measure if you have an infection, though. Like if I get a tooth infection or 3 infections, then opiates are necessary if I want to walk and continue working. I have to leave work and go on medical leave if I get an infection, because I will have seizures, I will fall, I can't talk, I can't function. When I try to grab a pack of cigarettes to sell it to a customer, my arm will shake and I won't talk right. So if I want that not to happen, I have to treat the pain from the infection so that the neurological disorder isn't as prevalent. And I also want to mention that words like prevalent, like I just tried to say, don't always come out. Sometimes they just come out, or they come out, Like the other day, I wanted to say the word, oh my God, I just said it 3 times earlier today. I just had it on the tip of my tongue to say, and now I just got it blocked, and because it got blocked, now I forget what I was trying to do. Oh, tallow. The other day I was trying to say beef tallow instead of pork lard or pork fat or pig fat. I was trying to describe what the fat from cows or bulls is called. And I said, and I couldn't get it out. It's tallow. I've been saying tallow for 15 years. I've known the word tallow since I was a teenager. There are simple words like tallow or the one I just said I had trouble with, and they get blocked. And what's even worse is, due to my neurological disorder, I've been having a lot more seizure activity and head injuries and falls, and on the side of the road, cars running over my hair or cars running near me. And I've noticed that I am having a harder time remembering certain words on my short-term memory. My long-term memory is great, and that's the weird thing about it. Oh, like if you give me a number 24964, I won't remember what you just told me right now. But then my coworker will ask me too late, hey, yesterday, what was the closing number? 24904. What? How do you remember that, Zach? You couldn't remember it last night, but you remember it off the top of your head now without having to look in your book? I don't know. Yesterday I had a look in the book and I just said it, and today it's there. You asked a question and it just came to me. It's trigger memory, I call it. You give me some information and it triggers certain memories, and my long-term memory seems to be right on the money a lot of times. But not always, and my memory has been getting worse with the head injuries, and honestly, I have a blockage of certain things. Like I'll try to say, like, for instance, if I'm looking at a screen and I'm trying to say $2.69, no, sorry, $26.90. Okay? I'll be looking at it and I'll say it. I'll say to the customer, $29.90. And I'll hear it and say, what? Wait a minute. What the hell did I just say? I'm looking at the screen. Let's try it again. $26.90. Oh, there we go. Why did I say that like a 9? Why did my brain switch to a different sound? My brain sent out the word 6, and somehow my mouth said 9. Oh, what that is the neurological um, nervous system. You have like memory cells, you have brain cells in your brain. When you send a signal out, so you're thinking of 2690. You see it on the screen, so it goes into your eyeballs, you process it, you send it to your mouth, 2690. But on the way to your mouth, a side electrical charge hits a different part of your memory, and all of a sudden your mouth says 2990. And you hear it through your ears and you say, that is not what I sent out through my brain. I sent out 2690, not 2990. And this has been happening ever since, worse since the head injury, but it's part of the neurological disorder after the head injury. It never used to happen before. I mean, yeah, I repeated things that people told me without understanding it. I was totally confused on drugs and pills. My mother was doing crazy things, taking my swimming medal away and trying to convince me that it's something that's not. She's trying to get me to repeat diseases I don't have. My mother's just acting totally crazy. She's jealous of my toys and just gonzo. So, as far as that goes, there's a lot that you cannot understand with me, my mother, my father, my neurological disorder, all the drugs involved, my mother acting crazy, my mother lying to my father, my mother lying to the doctors, my mother lying to me, and then she's clearly lying or clearly saying scary, fucked up stuff. Like, it's okay for me to give extra medication to my child. So what if I give extra medication to my child? So what if I poison my child? So what? There's nothing wrong about giving extra medication to your child, and everybody's horrified at my mother. Or the Halloween curse, where my mother would not be getting her way. She would administer me pills, I would get sick, and then my mother would get her way. Then after 20 hours, I would get better, and then nothing would happen for another year, or somewhat wouldn't happen. My mother still was crazy. Then the next Halloween, same thing, and then the next Halloween, same thing. My mother would say that she wants to get her way. My father and everybody else would say, no, you're not allowed to get your way. She would administer me pills. I would get sick. My mother would get her way. It's the same thing with the TV when in Westwood. I'm pretty sure the reason why she snuck me pills and why I had that overdose is my mother wanted to get her way. She didn't want to watch that movie, so she decided to put me out, make me all passed out, and then she would change the channel. At least that's just a guess. I don't know that one for sure. All I can tell you for sure is I had an overdose. My mother gave me medication. She refused to bring me to the hospital when she was told to do so. She told my father. They don't know what they're talking about when she hung up on the phone, and she lied about this being an allergy attack at the doctor's, and she definitely administered drugs and medication that night, and it sure seemed like she knew more about what was going on than anybody else. That I know for sure. And I also know that the pills she administered were administered every day after that. and there was the same medications throughout my life, and I never had that reaction again. But yet I had a permanent neurological disorder. I was having problems moving my body. I was sucking my skin to feel what the hell's going on with my body. And on top of this, I was out like a light for quite a while, and my breathing slowed down, and I lost my vision, and I lost the ability to feel, and my mouth went numb. I couldn't talk properly. And my mother's panicked, calling for help, but then as soon as they say to bring me to the emergency room, she hangs up on them and leaves me to sleep it off. So we know all that's true. Why my mother made all these decisions, we can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure she just wanted to take Batman Mr. Freeze off the TV and maybe have a drink. I don't know. That part I can't speak on. But the rest I know for sure because I was there. I took the pills. I was the person having the reaction. I was there at the doctor's office. I was there when my mother said those things. Asked questions about this through my entire life. I asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked and asked. By the time I was about 11, 12 years old, my mother was lying and going, I forget, I don't want to talk about it, I don't know anything, must be a fantasy, must be made up, I don't want to talk about it, I don't know about it. But before age 10, yes, my mother did admit to it. She admitted, oh, it's an allergy attack. Oh, yeah, I gave him medication, but it's just an allergy attack. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, I don't know what medications he was on. These were the answers my mother gave for the first 3 years. After that, after Texas, New Mexico, and Maine, she decided to switch her answers.